Hi, I'm Chanaye Jackson, and this is the Idea to Empire podcast. Here, we're making sure that you have actionable tips and tricks to make sure that you're less frustrated, less annoyed, and ready to take on your business life. I have been a multi-business owner since 2018, and I was in a completely different city, working in corporate, and essentially both businesses were a side hustle, but they were so tough immediately. I was flying into the other city, making sure that everything's running okay, and then flying back to my corporate job and doing all of that. And eventually in 2019, I said, I'm gonna go ahead and move to Atlanta. And that's where I currently live. And in 2019, I decided to shut down one of those businesses. Not that it was doing poorly, just that it wasn't furthering the goals of business ownership. It didn't feel like it was suiting my personality and overall what I wanted to be doing with myself and spending, let's face it, a lot of time. So I shut that business down and then I refocused on the equipment company. The equipment company has always been the workhorse. It makes consistent money, and I've always been super proud of the way that my business partner and I have run it. So why did I create this podcast? The reality is at one point, a very specific point, I burned out. It was quick, instantaneous, and I just fell apart. And I realized, one, because I was investing so much into my business and it was growing exactly how I was hoping. However, big however, I was investing at least 100 hours a week to try to get this business to do what it needed to do. And what was amazing is investing all of these hours did mean that I was, tripling the size of this equipment business. And let's be honest, that was amazing. But at what cost? Because once it got tripled, I had to shut down for an entire month to recuperate. Recuperation doesn't happen in 1 month. It happens essentially over years and years. So the way that I decided that my recuperation would happen is I came back relatively rejuvenated, but I was like, I know the exact reason why I was burnt out. I had 0 systems. I didn't create boundaries. I didn't communicate with my business partner. And there were so many manual activities, I can't even tell you. So essentially, I was doing all of this work to keep the business going. I wasn't being able to focus on the actual revenue generating activities. And instead, I was just in survival mode to keep myself afloat as the business grew, and grew. So I really needed to reset so that I could stop pushing against a really big wave. So I started slowly. What are all the tasks that I hate? What are the tasks that I absolutely love? I can't wait to do them. And then finally, what are so-so, right? What could I delegate, but if I had to do it for a little while, not a big deal, right? So I started with the ones that I hated. They had to go. And I don't know too many people outside who are accountants that love accounting. So I found a bookkeeper. So as you go and figure out what makes sense for you in a very systemized fashion, in my equipment business, I was able to go from over 100 hours to currently, and probably even more so for the last almost a year, I've been able to go down to less than 10. Just so you know, I don't have any goals to increase the revenues and do all of that growing and scaling. You are not required to do that. You're required to just be a good business owner. And I'm very happy with the overall revenues and the profits that this business makes. So that's probably just something to keep in mind. but really put that list together and then start chipping away. You've got it. So the reason why I have this podcast is because I want to make sure that you are super duper clear about what are some actionable steps for you to take to get out of the rigmarole. And you're gonna hear me say that a lot, the rigmarole of inefficient, unproductive, tiring, overwhelming operations, systems, and processes in your business. Why am I passionate about this? I am really passionate about operations and systems because that was my reality pretty much from the beginning of my business until not so long ago. And it's been incredibly freeing for me to be able to lessen the amount of time that I want to spend in my business so that then I can get in front of you. That's why the work that I do now is all about creating innovation, right? Systematizing, making things easier, simpler, faster, better, bigger. Keep going. I know that it can be incredibly hard for you as a business owner to get the right advice. There are a lot of gurus out there. There are a lot of experts out there. I know that it's hard to decipher who's right, who's wrong, or somebody in the middle. It's hard to weed out, perhaps we'll call them the charlatans. Regardless though, the goal for me is really that you have a better understanding of what might work, what could work, what should work in your business, regardless of what you do, because operations are operations are operations. That's what I tell my clients. It doesn't really matter what your business is. Clear, crystal clear and systemized business operations and systems is transcendent of anything that you do. We want you to have a life. I want you to have a life. And so that's what this podcast is for, period. Goal is to create actionable tips to building your own empire. So when I think about your business, my goal is really to take it from ideas, thoughts, and make an empire of your own. I haven't built an empire, but it sure feels like I've gotten pretty far. Again, you want to create a business that really makes sense for you, that really feels good, that gives you the opportunity to hang out with friends, hang out with family, read a book, but spend time being the whole you, not just the business you. Ideas are ideas, but when they're not actionable or when you have not created action behind them, then they're just ideas. They don't make you money. They live in a notebook or in your brain somewhere, and that doesn't help the rest of the world know you. My reality and your reality should be that you no longer have to think, you just do. You take that idea and go immediately into empire building. You're not spending a ton of time thinking. You're just like, let me go, move forward. I want you to be significantly intentional about your entrepreneurial journey. What happens if that intention leads to amazing results? So you have to set the intention. There's no more accidents. There's no more happenstance, and there's no more luck. Well, maybe a little bit of luck. Accidents are not accidents if you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Is what would happen if you had the tools you need to take immediate action to go forward and build a business that makes sense to you? What would it be like if you felt empowered? Have you ever thought about that? What would it feel like if you had the opportunity to try, experiment from the moment that you get the idea? I am a business owner. My guests are business owners. We've been around the proverbial block. We can help you. So take our ideas and go be great. Alrighty, that's the end for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, do all the things. I will see you next week on the Idea to Empire podcast.